Mom, just sign here. Those 5 words cost me everything. My house, my dignity, and almost my will to live. Because at that moment, at 69 years old, I wasn't signing a health insurance form like my daughter Jennifer had said. I was signing the deed to my house. The house I paid for working 3 jobs. The house where I raised my daughter after my husband died. The house that held every memory I had left. And the worst part? I trusted her completely. My name is Helen, and this is the story of how my only daughter planned to steal everything I had. But what she didn't know was that in 23 days, she would receive a letter that would destroy everything she had planned. It was 2:17 p.m. on a Wednesday when Jennifer slid the papers across my kitchen table. Mom, just sign here. It's for your Medicare supplement. I already read everything. I didn't argue. I simply picked up the pen and signed my name on the dotted line. The afternoon sun cut through my kitchen window, creating patterns on the worn linoleum floor. I could smell lavender air freshener mixed with Jennifer's expensive perfume. Her manicured burgundy nails tapped against the table as she watched me sign. Tap, tap, tap. My hand trembled slightly from the cold. I kept the AC at 68 degrees to save on the electric bill. There, I said, sliding the papers back. All done. She smiled, but not the smile I remembered from her childhood. This was different. Practiced, the smile she probably used with her real estate clients. Thanks, Mom. This will make everything so much easier. I watched her slide the papers into her leather briefcase. The clicking latch felt final, like a door shutting. What was worse? The way she looked at me. Not with love, not even with guilt, just efficiency, like I was a task on her to-do list, now checked off. I have to run, she said, already standing. Client meeting at 3. Oh, will you stay for coffee? I asked, already knowing the answer. Can't. Maybe this weekend? But there wouldn't be a weekend visit. There never was anymore. I walked her to the door, feeling the rough carpet under my bare feet. The same carpet from 32 years ago when Jennifer was 7, when her father was still alive, when this house was filled with laughter instead of silence. Bye, Mom, she called out, halfway down the porch steps. I stood there holding the screen door open, feeling the September heat rush in. I watched her Mercedes pull out of my driveway, the silver paint gleaming. So different from my 2003 Honda Civic with the dent I could never afford to fix. Only when her car disappeared did I close the door, lean against it, close my eyes. My heart was beating so fast I could hear it. Thump, thump, thump. But I didn't cry. Not yet. I sat down in the same chair, still warm from where she'd been sitting. My hands were shaking now, really shaking. I pressed them flat against the table. What I didn't know then was that I had just signed away the deed to my house. The house I'd worked 3 jobs to pay off. The house where I'd raised my daughter alone. The house that held every memory I had left. But before I continue, check if you're already subscribed to the channel and leave your like. Tell me in the comments where you're listening from. I really want to know how far this has reached. Let me tell you how it started. Not that Wednesday afternoon, but years before. The worst betrayals don't happen in a single moment. They build slowly, like rust, like a crack in the foundation you don't notice until the whole house crumbles. My name is Helen. I'm 69 years old, and for most of my life, I thought I was a good mother. I sacrificed, I provided, I loved. Isn't that what mothers do? Jennifer was born on a cold December morning in 1983, 7 pounds, 3 ounces. The most beautiful thing I'd ever seen. My husband Tom cried when he held her, tears running down his face while he whispered promises about the life he'd give her. He kept those promises for 12 years, until the heart attack took him one Tuesday evening while mowing the lawn. I remember finding him there, face down in the grass, the mower still running, the smell of gasoline and cut grass. I couldn't let Jennifer hear me fall apart. After Tom died, it was just me and my 12-year-old daughter who suddenly wore black to school every day and stopped smiling in pictures. I worked as a secretary at an accounting firm, $32,000 a year. Not much, but enough if I was careful. If I didn't buy new clothes, if I made every dollar stretch. Jennifer wanted private school. Her friends were all going. Mom, please, I'll be the only one at public school. We were poor, but I didn't say that. Instead, I took a second job cleaning offices at night, then a third job on weekends, catering events, standing for 12 hours, serving champagne to people who spent more on their shoes than I made in a month. But I paid for the private school. All 4 years. This is temporary, I told myself. Once she graduates, things will be easier. They weren't. Jennifer got into a good college, expensive enough. Mom, I need this, for my future, for my career. So I refinanced the house. The house Tom and I had almost paid off. I took out a new 30-year mortgage at 58 years old. I would be 88 when it was paid off, if I lived that long. But what else could I do? She was my daughter, my only child, the only family I had left. Let me rephrase that. The only family I thought I had. College changed Jennifer, or maybe it just revealed who she really was. I'm still not sure which truth hurts more. She came home for Thanksgiving, her freshman year, wearing designer jeans, a cashmere sweater, and boots that probably cost more than my car payment. Where did you get all that? I asked, trying to sound casual. Oh, my roommate's family took me shopping, she said, eyes on her phone. They felt bad I didn't have anything nice to wear to their country club. Their country club. Those 3 words sank like stones. You have nice clothes, I said quietly. The ones we bought together before you left. She finally looked at me, and in her eyes, I saw embarrassment. Not for herself. For me. Mom, those are from Target. What I wanted to say was that Target clothes had been good enough for her for 18 years. That they represented every extra shift I'd worked. But I didn't say it. I could already feel her pulling away. So I smiled and said, Well, you look beautiful, honey. That was the first moment I should have drawn a line. But I didn't. That silence became a pattern. 2 weeks later, she called asking for money for textbooks, $847. I didn't ask questions. I just sent it. The years blurred. Calls grew shorter, visits rarer. She studied marketing. It's where the money is, Mom. I'm not going to struggle like you did. Like I did. As if struggle had been a choice. As if I wanted a life of exhaustion and sacrifice. But she didn't just mean financial struggle. She was talking about me. Escaping me. When she graduated, I drove 6 hours to attend. Requested time off. Bought a dress from Macy's, on sale, because I wanted her to be proud, just once. Her apartment was nice. Hardwood floors, granite countertops. How do you afford this? I asked. Roommates, she said quickly. Too quickly, but I only saw 1 toothbrush, 1 name on the lease. The ceremony was beautiful. When they called her name, I stood, clapped until my hands hurt, tried to catch her eye. She never looked my way. Afterward, I waited in the sun, camera ready. She appeared 47 minutes later, surrounded by elegant strangers. Mom, she said flatly, these are my friends. I asked for a photo. Oh, we already took a bunch. One girl laughed. Come on, Jen. 1 more won't kill you. Jen. Since when? She stood next to me, stiff. I put my arm around her. She didn't put hers around me. 1 click. Evidence I'd been there. I made a reservation, I said. That Italian place you loved. Actually, we have plans. Graduation party. It's been planned for months. Oh, I said. You didn't mention it. Didn't I? She murmured, texting. Can I come? The words came out small. Her face flickered. Panic, annoyance, maybe both. It's kind of just for students. It'd be weird to bring parents. Other parents went. I saw later photos, smiles, champagne. But that evening, standing in the parking lot, feeling the asphalt heat and car exhaust, I just nodded. Okay, I understand. Thanks, Mom, she said, already walking away. I watched her go, not looking back. I sat in my car for 20 minutes, AC blasting, chest tight, telling myself I was being oversensitive. Everything was fine. I drove home 6 hours that night. At 2:30 a.m., in my quiet kitchen, I finally broke. I thought it would get better once she started working. I thought we'd find our way back. I was wrong. It got worse. Much worse. And those papers I signed that Wednesday afternoon? They were just the final step in a plan she'd been building for years. Jennifer got her first real job 3 months after graduation, a marketing firm in the city, $58,000 a year. More than I'd ever made. She called on a Monday evening, just as I was sitting down to leftover chicken and rice. "That's wonderful, honey," I said, my voice cracking with pride. "Yeah," she replied. Traffic hummed in the background. "Listen, I need to ask you something." Finally, after years of distance, maybe she needed me again. "Anything," I said. "I need first and last month's rent, plus deposit. It's $4,200. The number hit me hard. I had $1,847 in savings, my roof fund. The current one leaked when it rained. "That's a lot," I said. "I know, Mom, but this apartment's perfect, close to work, safe." I should have asked questions, but I heard something in her voice, the daughter who once needed me. "Let me see what I can do." I took out a personal loan, 18% interest, walked out of Quick Cash America with a $4,200 cashier's check and a 3-year payment plan. I mailed it with a card that said, "I'm so proud of you." 2 days later, she texted, "Got it, thanks." No emoji, no visit. I told myself she was busy, starting her new life. Things would be different soon. Spoiler, they weren't. She never invited me to see that first apartment, or the next. When she got promoted in 2018, I found out from Facebook, her holding champagne, caption, Associate Director, before 30. I commented, "So proud of you, sweetheart." 3 hearts. She never replied. 18 days left before she'd learn what she'd taken from me. But I didn't know that yet. The first warning came Christmas Eve 2019. I was 63, Jennifer 36. We hadn't seen each other in 14 months. "Honey," I said, "I'm making ham for Christmas dinner, your father's recipe. What time should I expect you?" Silence. Then, "Mom, I have plans, with friends. We're going to the mountains." "You didn't think to tell me?" I asked quietly. "Mom, don't be dramatic. It's just Christmas." Just Christmas. The same holiday she once cried through after her father died, saying nothing would ever be the same. I'd promised her new traditions. Every year since, we'd watched It's a Wonderful Life, opened presents, made cinnamon rolls, until it became just Christmas. "Okay," I said, my voice hollow. "Have fun in the mountains." "Thanks, Mom. I'll call you." She didn't. Not on Christmas Eve, not Christmas Day, not New Year's. I ate ham sandwiches alone, sitting by the small tree decorated with her childhood ornaments, popsicle stars, paper angels, a clay handprint from when she was 5. I left it up until February. Taking it down meant admitting she wasn't coming home. Sometimes we trust too much in people who don't deserve it. Have you been disappointed by someone you loved? Tell me in the comments. I want to know I'm not alone. Then, in March 2020, something changed. The pandemic hit. The world shut down, and Jennifer called. "Mom, are you okay?" she asked, sounding worried. Relief flooded me. "I'm fine," I said. "Are you?" "Yeah, but you're high risk. You have to be careful." Suddenly, I mattered again. We talked for 37 minutes, the longest in years. She promised to call every week. For 6 Sundays, she did. We talked about the news, her remote job, her friends. I didn't tell her I couldn't find flour at the store. I just listened, grateful. But Jennifer wasn't checking in because she cared. She was checking that I was still alive, still useful, already planning what she'd do with my house. The calls stopped in May. No reason, no goodbye, just silence. I should have known then. But hope is a powerful drug. And I was addicted to the hope that my daughter still loved me. The next time Jennifer called was August 4th, 2020, at 11:52 a.m. I was in my backyard trying to fix a broken fence post with duct tape when her name lit up my phone. "Jennifer?" I said, breathless, from heat or hope, I wasn't sure. Hey, Mom, quick question. Do you still have that life insurance policy Dad left? Not, how are you? Just business. But I was so desperate for connection, I ignored her cold tone. Yes, I said. Why? Just making sure you're covered. You know, in case anything happens. In case anything happens. The air felt heavier than the heat. Nothing's going to happen. I'm healthy, I said. Good. So how much is it? $50,000? Your father's old policy. And I'm the beneficiary, right? Yes, Jennifer. You're my only child. Good. That's good. Gotta run. Talk soon. She hung up before I could say I loved her. I stood holding my silent phone, the question sitting wrong in my stomach. But I told myself she was being responsible. Adult. Normal. Nothing was normal, and it was about to get worse. That October, my car broke down, $200 to fix, and I had less than $900 to my name. Hands shaking, I called her. Honey, the transmission. How much? She cut in. $200. I'll pay you back. Mom, I can't hand out thousands like that. I have bills too. Her bills. Her life. I'd given her $200 for rent, $180,000 for college, and she couldn't help once. Have you thought about selling the house? She asked, casual as if suggesting new curtains. What? It's too big for you anyway. You could downsize. Downsize. The home Tom and I bought. The home I'd refinance to pay for her education. This is my home, I said. Just something to consider. You're not getting any younger. At 64, I was already being prepared for disposal. I'll think about it, I lied. She ended with, hope you work it out. I did, by pawning my mother's wedding ring. They gave me $2,200, not half what it was worth, but enough. I never told Jennifer. What would be the point? Then something changed. In December, she called, said she was coming for Christmas. Let's do our tradition, movie and popcorn, like old times. Those words made me cry. Like old times. She remembered. Maybe she still cared. I cleaned the house, bought new sheets, cooked her favorite foods, $247 I didn't have. But worth it if it meant getting her back. She was due at 6 p.m. Christmas Eve. By 6:30, no message. At 7:45, my call went to voicemail. At 8:17, a text. So sorry, Mom. Something came up with work. Rain check? I sat at the table, staring at two-place settings, candles burning low, dinner ready. The smell of baked ham filling the silence. She couldn't even call. Just a text. I turned off the oven, blew out the candles, and went to bed by 8:47 p.m., listening to laughter drift through the walls from neighbors' celebrations. The next morning, at 11:34 p.m. the night before, a message had come through. Merry Christmas, Mom. Gift card coming soon. It never came. But still, I made excuses. She was busy, stressed, young. I told myself it was a phase, that she'd grow out of it. We'd be okay. What I didn't know then was that the canceled Christmas wasn't for work. It was for a party. I saw the photos later. Her in a silver dress, champagne in hand, tree behind her glowing brighter than my living room. Time stamped 7:23 p.m. While I sat waiting, she was toasting at a penthouse, laughing, living her life, forgetting me. Only 17 days left before everything would change, before she would finally face what she'd done. But that Christmas, I still believed in her, still hoped, still waited for a daughter who was never coming home. The pattern continued for another year. Missed calls, canceled plans, excuses that faded until she stopped making them at all. Then, in February 2022, Jennifer called with news that should have made me happy. I'm getting married, she said flatly, like reading a headline. Married? To who? I didn't even know you were seeing anyone. His name's Derek. He's in finance. We've been together 3 years. 3 years, and I'd never heard his name. Why didn't you tell me? I'm telling you now. Can I meet him? Take you both to dinner? We'll see. It's a small wedding. Just close family and friends. Close family. I was her only family. Her only parent. When? June 18th. I have to go, Mom. The line clicked dead, leaving me clutching my phone, torn between joy and dread. I told myself marriage would mature her, that she'd finally understand family. I was wrong. 6 weeks later, the invitation arrived. Cream card, gold lettering, $15 apiece if it was anything like the photos. The venue, the Ashford Estate, starting price $75,000. I called her that night. It's beautiful, honey. But that place looks expensive. Derek's parents are paying for most of it. They're well off. I'd love to contribute, maybe flowers or, it's all handled, Mom. We'll see you at the wedding. We'll see you at the wedding. Like I was a distant relative. Just a seat to fill. 3 months passed. My calls went to voicemail. My texts got read but unanswered. Still, I bought a navy blue dress, new shoes, even booked my hair appointment. Money I didn't have, but this was my daughter's wedding. I had to look like someone she could be proud of. June 18th was hot and cloudless. I arrived early, 3:23 p.m., hoping to see her before the ceremony. The place was breathtaking. Marble floors, rose gardens, waiters serving champagne. I'm her mother, I told a coordinator. The woman blinked, checked her clipboard. The bridal suite is for the wedding party only. You can wait in the main hall. Main hall? Table 14. Back of the room, surrounded by strangers, Derek's distant cousins, I later learned. At 4:07 p.m., the ceremony began. Jennifer walked down the aisle on Derek's father's arm. His father, standing where mine should have. I watched from the back as my daughter became a wife, and never once looked at me. Dinner was worse. Speeches for Derek, toasts to our new daughter, stories from Jennifer's friends. No one mentioned me. Not once. And then, the mother-son dance. Derek and his mom. Applause. The DJ moved straight to open dancing. No mother-daughter moment. No acknowledgement that I even existed. I left the table at 8:43 p.m. and locked myself in a bathroom stall. My hands shook. I didn't cry yet. Not there. Not in that place built for people like her. When I returned, I lasted until 10 p.m., long enough not to seem rude, then slipped out. No one noticed. Not Jennifer, not Derek, no one. I cried in my car until my makeup ran and my throat ached. Cried for the daughter I raised, the love I gave, the woman she'd become without me. Driving home at 11:37 p.m., I still believed maybe she'd call, maybe she'd apologize, maybe there was hope. She didn't. And hope, I was learning, can be the cruelest thing of all. The months after the wedding were the loneliest of my life. Jennifer didn't call, didn't text, didn't send a single photo. I saw them online instead. Italy, Greece, turquoise water, sunsets, smiles for strangers. I commented once, "Beautiful, so happy for you both." 3 weeks later, still no reply. In September 2022, my roof finally gave out. A storm hit on the 12th, and at 2:36 a.m., I woke to cracking wood and pouring rain. Water gushed through a hole above my bed. By morning, my bedroom reeked of mold. The contractor's estimate, $12,000. My savings, $643. I called Jennifer. "Honey, the roof collapsed. I need to borrow." "Mom, Derek and I are saving for a house. We can't just give away thousands." "I'll pay you back. Have you called your insurance?" "My deductible's $5,000. A long sigh. "Then maybe it's time to sell. You're in over your head." In over my head, after sacrificing everything to keep this house. "This is my home," I said weakly. "It's just a building, Mom. You're too attached." Too attached. To the place where I raised her. "Okay," I breathed. "Good luck with the roof." She hung up. I sat staring at the stain spreading across my ceiling, realizing I had no one. No family, no help. Just 4 walls and a roof that couldn't protect me. So I borrowed from a predatory lender, 32% interest, $12,000 out of desperation. Got the roof fixed, the debt doubled, and never told Jennifer. That Christmas? Silence. My 67th birthday came in March 2023. No call, no text. At 9:47 p.m., I finally wrote, "Thank you for the birthday wishes." At 11:34 p.m., she replied, Sorry, happy belated birthday, Mom. Belated, like I was a calendar reminder. Still, I forgave her. Still, I hoped. Then, July 25th. Mom, I need a favor, she said. Of course. Derek's parents are visiting. Could we host dinner at your house? Ours is too small. My house. The one she told me to sell. You want to use my house? Just one evening. You wouldn't have to do anything. I asked, will you stay after? We could talk, catch up. We'll see. So is that a yes? And like always, I said yes. I cleaned for 3 days, dusted, scrubbed, bought flowers I couldn't afford. Jennifer arrived, glanced around and muttered, "It's smaller than I remembered." Then came the final insult. Mom, Derek's parents are particular. Maybe it'd be easier if you went out for the evening. A movie or something? You want me to leave my own house? Just for a few hours, please, it's important. So I left. Sat in a coffee shop until 10:47 p.m., pretending to read while families laughed around me. When I returned, the house was spotless. Too spotless. They'd erased every trace of having been there. Even the flowers I bought were gone. Jennifer texted the next morning. Dinner went great. Thanks again. Thanks again. For disappearing on command. For being convenient. That was when something inside me broke. I realized I'd let her hollow me out, year after year, until nothing was left. 3 weeks later, September 13th, 2023, she called. Mom, have you thought about your estate planning? My what? Estate planning. Power of attorney, healthcare directives. You're almost 70. Almost 70. And already she was preparing for my end. I haven't thought about it. You should. I can help. I know a lawyer. Why are you thinking about this now? I just worry. What if something happens? Someone needs to make decisions. Someone. Meaning her. Control. Access. I didn't see it then. The pattern. The setup. I didn't see how every step pointed here. The life insurance, the talk of selling the house, now estate planning. Only 8 days left. 8 days until that Wednesday. Until the papers. Until everything changed. I still believed she was my daughter. That blood meant loyalty. That love, even damaged love, was still love. I was wrong, and soon I would pay the price. The call came 21 days after I signed the papers. September 4th, 2023, at 9:34 a.m. on a Monday morning. I was having coffee. The cheap instant kind. The phone number was local but unfamiliar. I almost didn't answer. Is this Helen Carter? A woman's voice asked. Yes, this is she. Mrs. Carter, this is Linda Brennan from County Records. I'm calling because we received some documentation regarding property transfer for 447 Maple Street, and there seems to be an irregularity with the notarization. I need to verify that you did indeed sign a quitclaim deed transferring ownership to Jennifer Morrison. The words hit me like ice water. Property transfer. Quitclaim deed. Ownership to Jennifer. What? I whispered. You signed a quitclaim deed on August 14th, transferring full ownership of your property to your daughter. But the notary stamp appears to have been improperly dated. I need to confirm you were aware of what you were signing. My hands started shaking so badly the phone nearly slipped from my grip. The coffee mug on the table swam in and out of focus. My mouth tasted like metal, like blood, like fear. I didn't sign a quitclaim deed, I said. I signed Medicare supplement papers. She said they were for my health insurance. Silence, long and terrible. Then, Mrs. Carter, I'm looking at the document right now. It very clearly states quitclaim deed at the top. Your signature is at the bottom. Are you saying you didn't read what you signed? I couldn't breathe. The kitchen felt too small, too hot, the walls pressing in. She told me it was Medicare papers. She said she had already read everything. I trusted her. She's my daughter. I see. Linda's voice had changed. Softer now. Sympathetic. The way people talk to victims. Mrs. Carter, I think you need to contact an attorney immediately. If you were defrauded into signing this document, you may have legal recourse. But I need to tell you that as of right now, according to county records, you no longer own your home. Jennifer Morrison does. The phone fell from my hand, clattered onto the table. I could hear Linda's voice, tiny and distant, still talking. But I couldn't hear the words, couldn't process anything except one single truth. My daughter had stolen my house. I don't know how long I sat there. Minutes, hours. Time felt broken, shattered. The sun moved across the floor. The coffee went cold. And I just sat, frozen, my mind trying to catch up with reality, trying to understand how this had happened, how the person I raised, the person I sacrificed everything for, the person I loved more than my own life, how that person could do this. My phone rang again at 2:15 p.m. Jennifer, as if summoned by my horror, as if she knew. I stared at her name on the screen. My hands were still shaking, my whole body was shaking. I answered. "Hey, Mom," she said. Casual, light, like nothing was wrong. Like she hadn't just committed fraud, like she hadn't just destroyed me. "What did you do?" My voice came out strange, hollow. Someone else's voice. "What do you mean? The papers I signed? They weren't for Medicare. They were a quitclaim deed. You stole my house." Silence. But not surprise, not shock, not denial. Just silence, calculating silence. "Mom, I didn't steal anything. You signed the papers. You lied to me. You told me they were for health insurance. I told you to read what you were signing. It's not my fault you didn't." Not her fault. She had lied. She had deceived. She had committed fraud, and it wasn't her fault. "Why?" I asked. The word broke coming out. "Why would you do this?" "Because you're not capable of managing your own affairs anymore. The roof collapsed. The car broke down. You're drowning in debt. Someone needed to take control before you lose everything. So you decided to take it? To steal my home?" "I decided to protect the family asset. That house is worth $340,000. Do you know how much equity is in it? About $180,000. That's my inheritance, Mom. I'm just claiming it a little early, before you blow it all on living expenses and medical bills." Her inheritance, my home, my memories, my life, reduced to her inheritance, an asset to be claimed. "You have no right," I said. My voice was shaking now, rage mixing with grief, with disbelief. "That is my house. I worked 3 jobs to pay for it. I refinanced it to pay for your education. You have no right." "I have every right. I'm your only heir. It was going to be mine eventually anyway. This way we avoid estate taxes and probate fees. You should be thanking me." Thanking her. For fraud, for betrayal, for cruelty so complete it took my breath away. "Get out," I said. "What?" "Get out of my house. You want it so badly? Come get it. Come take it from me in person. Look me in the eyes while you do it. Have the courage to face what you've done. Mom, you're being dramatic. I'm not kicking you out. You can stay there. Nothing has to change." "Everything has changed. You stole from me. You lied to me. You betrayed me. I protected an asset, that's all. Stop being so emotional about it. Stop being emotional. About losing my home. About being defrauded by my own child. About realizing that the person I loved most in the world saw me as nothing more than an obstacle to money. Come here," I said again. "Tonight. If you won't leave my house alone, then come face me. Explain to me in person how what you did isn't theft. How lying to your mother is protection. I'm busy tonight. Then tomorrow, or the day after. But you will come here. You will look at me, and you will see what you've done." "Fine," she snapped. "I'll come Thursday, 6 p.m. But I'm not apologizing for making a smart financial decision." She hung up. I sat there holding my silent phone, and something inside me shifted. The grief was still there. The pain was still crushing. But underneath it, something else was growing. Something cold and hard and furious. Something that whispered, "She doesn't get to win. Not like this. Not without consequences." I called Linda Brennan back at 2:47 p.m. You said I might have legal recourse. What kind? If you can prove fraud, you could potentially void the deed. You'd need proof she misrepresented what you were signing. Witnesses, evidence. It's not easy, but it's possible. How long do I have? The sooner you act, the better. Once she starts making claims on the property, things get more complicated. What kind of claims? Well, as the legal owner, she could refinance, take out a home equity loan, even sell it. Technically, you're living in her house now, Mrs. Carter. She could evict you if she wanted. Evict me. From my own home. The home I had lived in for 32 years. The home where I raised her, where her father died, where every piece of my life existed. She could throw me out onto the street and it would be legal. Because according to paperwork, it was hers. Thank you, I said. You've been very helpful. I hung up and sat in my kitchen, feeling the afternoon sun streaming through the window, warm on my skin. I could hear birds outside. A lawnmower in the distance. Normal sounds, life continuing as if nothing had changed, as if my world hadn't just ended. But I didn't cry. Not then. Instead, I stood up. I walked to my bedroom. I opened the closet, and I pulled out a box I hadn't looked at in years, a box filled with papers, documents, memories, evidence. Because here's what Jennifer didn't know. Here's what she didn't consider in her careful planning, her smart financial decisions, her asset protection. I kept everything. Every receipt, every canceled check, every document showing every dollar I had spent on her, every sacrifice I had made, every penny of the $180,000 college education, every payment on the apartment deposit loan, every expense from her childhood to her wedding. I had proof, not just of my sacrifice, but of something else. Something I had discovered years ago and never mentioned. Something I had kept quiet about because I thought it was none of my business. Because I thought she would tell me when she was ready. Because I was too naive to understand what it meant. I pulled out a folder from 2016. Legal documents I had accidentally seen when I helped her move apartments that summer. Documents she thought she had hidden. Documents that changed everything. And I smiled. For the first time since Linda Brennan's phone call, I smiled. Because in 2 days, when Jennifer walked through my door at 6 p.m. on Thursday, she was going to learn something. She was going to learn that mothers aren't stupid, that kindness isn't weakness, that silence isn't ignorance. She was going to learn that you don't steal from the person who knows all your secrets. Only 2 days left until Thursday. Only 2 more days until everything changed, until the scared, pathetic mother she thought she could manipulate showed her teeth. Until the woman she had underestimated reminded her that you should be very, very careful who you betray. Because sometimes the people you hurt the most are the ones who know exactly how to hurt you back. The 2 days before Thursday felt like walking through water. Everything moved slowly. Every breath took effort. Every moment was weighted with what was coming. I didn't sleep, couldn't eat, just planned, prepared, made phone calls, gathered documents, built my case. On Wednesday, at 10:47 a.m., I met with an attorney named Marcus Chen. His office was small, modest, nothing like the fancy places Jennifer probably frequented. But his eyes were sharp, kind. He listened without interrupting as I told him everything, showed him everything. The quitclaim deed, the evidence of fraud, the misrepresentation, my bank statements showing decades of sacrifices. And then I showed him the folder, the one from 2016. The documents Jennifer thought I had never seen. Marcus went very quiet. His fingers traced the words on the pages. His jaw tightened. "Mrs. Carter," he said slowly, "do you understand what this is?" "I do. And you've kept this secret for 7 years? She's my daughter. I thought she would tell me eventually. I thought it didn't matter. I was wrong." Marcus leaned back in his chair. "This changes everything. With this, we have leverage, significant leverage. Are you prepared to use it?" I thought about the wedding where I sat at table 14, the Christmas Eves spent alone, the roof she wouldn't help fix, the papers she lied about, The house she stole. Yes, I said. I'm prepared. Then here's what we're going to do. He explained the plan. It was simple, elegant, devastating, and it would work. It had to work. Because I had nothing left to lose and everything to gain. I left his office at 12:33 p.m. carrying documents in a manila envelope. Proof, power, justice. I drove home with my hands steady on the wheel. My heart was racing, but my mind was clear. Clearer than it had been in years. Because for the first time in decades, I wasn't the victim. I wasn't the resource. I wasn't the convenient mother who said yes to everything. I was the woman who fought back. Thursday arrived, September 7th, 2023. The day promised in that phone call. The day everything would change. I woke at 6:18 a.m., showered, put on my nicest outfit. Not the department store dress, not the Target clothes, but the outfit I had worn to Tom's funeral. Black slacks, a cream blouse, my mother's pearl earrings. I looked in the mirror and saw someone I hadn't seen in a long time. Someone with dignity. Someone with strength. Someone who mattered. I set the dining room table at 4:30 p.m. 2 place settings, water glasses, the manila envelope positioned at Jennifer's seat. Visible, impossible to miss. The afternoon light came through the windows. The house was silent, waiting. I sat in my chair, folded my hands, and I waited too. At 5:52 p.m., I heard a car in the driveway. Early. She was early. Interesting. Was she nervous? Did she suspect something? The doorbell rang at 5:54 p.m. She had a key. She had grown up here, but she rang the bell, like a stranger, like this wasn't her home, because it wasn't, not anymore, not in any way that mattered. I opened the door at 5:55 p.m. Jennifer stood on my porch wearing designer jeans and a cashmere sweater. Her hair was perfect. Her makeup was flawless. She looked expensive, successful, beautiful, and I felt nothing. No love, no anger. Just cold, clear purpose. "Mom," she said. "Jennifer, come in." She walked past me. I caught the scent of her perfume, that expensive French brand, the smell that had lingered in my kitchen when she brought the papers, the smell that had filled my car on the drive home from her wedding, the smell of everything I couldn't afford, everything I wasn't. "We need to talk," she said, turning to face me in the foyer. "Yes, we do." The dining room. I led her there. Watched her see the table, the 2 settings, the envelope. Her eyes narrowed. "What's this?" "Sit down," I said. "Mom, I don't have time for—" "Sit down." Something in my voice made her stop, made her look at me differently, made her see something she hadn't expected. She sat, stiff, wary, her hands on the table. Those manicured nails, that burgundy polish. I sat across from her, the same seats as that Wednesday afternoon. But everything was different now. "Open the envelope," I said. "What is this?" "Open it." She pulled the envelope toward her, opened it, pulled out the documents, and I watched her face change, watched the color drain, watched her eyes widen, watched her understand. It took 43 seconds. I counted. 43 seconds for her to realize that she had lost. "Where did you get these?" she whispered. "I found them in 2016, when I helped you move. They fell out of a box. I saw them, I read them, and I kept them. Because I'm your mother. Because I thought you would tell me when you were ready. Because I loved you enough to keep your secrets. You had no right. I had every right. Just like you thought you had the right to steal my house." Jennifer's hands were shaking now, the papers trembling between her fingers. "This is blackmail. No, this is consequence. Let me explain what's going to happen now. You're going to sign a document reversing the quitclaim deed, transferring ownership of this house back to me. You're going to do it tonight, right here, with a notary who is arriving at 6:30 p.m., a real notary, not whatever you used for your fraud. And if I refuse?" I leaned forward, held her eyes. "Then I take those documents to the police, to your employer, to Derek, to his parents, to everyone, and I'd tell them what you did, what you really are, not just the deed fraud, but all of it, everything in those pages, every lie, every scheme, every secret you've been hiding. Her face went white, completely white. You wouldn't. Try me. You seem to think I'm weak, pathetic, easy to manipulate. Maybe I was. Maybe I let you treat me like garbage because I loved you too much to fight back. But you made a mistake, Jennifer. You pushed too far. You took the one thing I had left. And now you're going to learn what happens when you steal from someone who has nothing left to lose. I'm your daughter, she said, her voice breaking. Real emotion finally. Finally something other than cold calculation. Are you? Because daughters don't commit fraud against their mothers. Daughters don't lie and steal and manipulate. Daughters don't treat their parents like inconvenient obstacles to money. You stopped being my daughter years ago, Jennifer. You became something else. Something I don't recognize. Something I don't think I like very much. Tears were running down her face now, ruining her perfect makeup. I'm sorry, she whispered. No, you're not sorry. You're scared. There's a difference. You're sorry you got caught. Sorry that your victim fought back. Sorry that your plan failed, but you're not sorry for what you did. If I had never found out, you would have taken this house. Would have evicted me when it was convenient. Would have sold it and pocketed the money and never looked back. Don't insult me by pretending otherwise. The doorbell rang at 6:31 p.m. That's the notary, I said, and my attorney, and a witness. We're going to fix what you did, legally, properly, and then you're going to leave, and you're going to stay away from me. Mom, please, I'm not done. After you sign those papers, we're going to discuss terms. You will never contact me again unless I initiate contact. You will not show up uninvited. You will not ask me for money. You will not use me for anything, ever again. In exchange, I will keep your secrets. Those documents stay private. Your life stays intact. But only if you leave mine alone. I stood up, walked to the door, let in Marcus Chen, the notary, and a witness. They filed into the dining room, professional, efficient. Jennifer sat there, trapped, cornered, the predator becoming prey. The papers were signed at 6:47 p.m., her signature shaking on the line, the notary stamping, Marcus witnessing, everything legal, everything proper, everything reversed. My house became mine again, my property, my home. My life returned to me. We're done here, Marcus said, gathering the papers. Mrs. Morrison, I strongly suggest you seek legal counsel regarding the original fraud. Mrs. Carter could press charges. She's choosing not to. Be grateful. Jennifer stood, her mascara streaked, her perfect appearance ruined. She looked at me, really looked at me. I didn't mean to hurt you, she said. And that's when something broke, not in me, in her. Because she realized, maybe for the first time, that she had. That her mother was a real person with real feelings who could really be damaged. That actions had consequences. That cruelty had a price. Yes, you did, I said quietly. Maybe not consciously. Maybe you told yourself it was just business, just smart planning, just protecting assets. But you meant to hurt me. Every canceled Christmas, every missed birthday, every time you treated me like an embarrassment, every moment you made me feel small and worthless and unwanted. You meant all of it. You just didn't think I'd ever do anything about it. I still wonder if I did the right thing. And you? What would you have done in my place? Tell me in the comments. I truly want to know what you think. I want you to leave now, I said. And I want you to think about what kind of person you've become. What kind of person steals from their mother? What kind of person treats family like a transaction? What kind of person you want to be going forward? Because you can't be that person and be in my life. You have to choose. Jennifer walked to the door, stopped, turned back. What if I choose you? She asked. What if I want to fix this, want to be better? I looked at her, at the daughter I raised, the child I loved, the woman I didn't recognize. Then you'll have to prove it, I said. Not with words, not with promises, but with actions, with years of consistent, genuine, respectful behavior. And even then, I may never trust you again. That's what you destroyed, Jennifer. Not just your relationship with me, but my ability to believe in you. That's what cruelty costs. That's what you'll have to live with. She nodded, opened the door, stepped out into the September evening, and I closed the door behind her, locked it, turned around to see Marcus, the notary, and the witness still in my dining room. "Thank you," I said to them, "for everything. You're a strong woman, Mrs. Carter," Marcus said. "Not everyone fights back. Most people just accept it, just let themselves be victimized. You didn't. You should be proud of that." Proud. I didn't feel proud. I felt exhausted, hollow, victorious and empty at the same time. Because I had won, yes. I had saved my house. I had protected myself. But I had also lost my daughter. Maybe permanently, maybe forever. And that pain, that loss, it didn't feel like winning. After they left, I sat alone in my dining room, the light fading outside, the house settling into evening silence. And I thought about all of it, every moment, every choice, every sacrifice, every disappointment, every hope that had died, every illusion that had shattered. And I thought about what came next, how to live with this, how to move forward, how to be a person who had saved herself but lost her child in the process, how to reconcile the victory with the grief, the justice with the loneliness. I didn't have answers. Not then. Maybe not ever. But I had my house. I had my dignity. I had proof that I was strong enough to fight back, that I mattered enough to defend, that I was worth saving, even if I had to save myself. 23 days. That's how long it took from signing papers I didn't understand to taking my life back. 23 days from complete betrayal to complete reversal. 23 days that changed everything, that revealed everything, that ended everything. And as I sat there in the growing darkness, I realized something. The daughter I mourned, the one I kept hoping would come back, she had never existed. Not really. I had created her in my mind, built her from my hopes and my needs and my desperate desire to be loved. The real Jennifer, the one who could lie and steal and manipulate, she had always been there. I just hadn't wanted to see it, but I saw it now, and I would never unsee it again. That was September 7th, 2023. Today is December 22nd, 2025. 2 years, 3 months, and 15 days have passed since that Thursday evening, since I saved my house and lost my daughter. I need to tell you what happened in the silence that followed, because the end of a story is never really the end. It's just the beginning of what comes after. Jennifer called 3 times in the weeks that followed. I didn't answer. She sent long texts, apologies, explanations, promises to change, begging for another chance. I read every word, felt every pull they were designed to create, and then deleted them. Here's what I learned. Sometimes love isn't enough. Sometimes history isn't enough. Sometimes blood isn't enough. Sometimes the healthiest thing you can do is walk away from people who hurt you, even when they're the ones who were supposed to love you most. On October 15th, 2023, she came to my door at 4:47 p.m. I watched from the window as she rang the bell once, twice, 3 times. I stood 5 feet away and didn't open it. She waited 11 minutes. I let every one of them pass. She left a letter in the screen door. She wrote about regret and shame and therapy and wanting to make things right. I burned it in my kitchen sink at 5:32 p.m., watched the ink curl and blacken, and felt nothing. Not anger, not relief, just the stillness that comes after you finished mourning. The last time I heard from Jennifer was Christmas Eve 2023. A package arrived, an expensive cashmere sweater in my size, my favorite color, and a card. "I'm sorry for everything. I love you. Please forgive me. Jay." I donated it to Goodwill on December 26th, still wrapped in its tissue paper. I didn't want gifts or apologies. I wanted the years back, the trust back, the daughter I thought I had. None of that could be returned. You're probably wondering about the documents from 2016, the secrets that gave me leverage. I won't tell you exactly what they were. Some things deserve to stay private. But I will tell you this. They proved Jennifer had been living a lie, a serious one. The kind that could have destroyed her marriage, her reputation, her entire carefully arranged life. The kind that explained her desperation for money, for assets, for security. I never had to use them. The threat was enough. For that, I'm grateful. Because even after everything, I didn't want to destroy her. I just wanted peace. I'm 69 now, the age she used as a weapon. You're not getting any younger, Mom, she said, like age was a failure. But I'm not ashamed. I'm here. I'm alive. I still have my house. The roof is fixed. The car runs. I'm not thriving, not wealthy, but I'm managing. And that's enough. I've made a new will. Everything goes to charity when I die. The house, my small life insurance, the car. All of it to organizations that help elderly people financially abused by their families. Because I learned I'm not alone. Elder abuse is real. Children steal from parents more than anyone wants to believe. Sometimes the most dangerous people in our lives share our last name. My neighbor Margaret checks on me now. We have coffee on Tuesdays. She's 71, a widow too. We talk about the weather and grocery prices. Nothing deep. It's simple. It's safe. No one is trying to take anything from me. I sleep better now than I have in years. Strange, isn't it? I lost my only child, my only blood family, and yet I sleep. Because losing Jennifer didn't just hurt, it removed something toxic. It ended the constant hoping, the constant disappointment, the endless cycle of giving and being drained. It lifted the weight of loving someone who didn't love me back. Sometimes I wonder if she's still married, if she's happy, if she ever thinks about me, if I'm a character in her story, or if she's written me out entirely. But most of the time, I don't wonder. Most of the time, I just live. I watch the birds at my feeder, tend the flowers in my garden. Notice how the afternoon sun hits my kitchen table and paints the same shifting patterns I saw that Wednesday afternoon when I signed papers I didn't understand. The light that watched my betrayal now watches my survival. Do you remember? It was 2:17 p.m. on a Wednesday when she slid those papers across my table. I told you that in 23 days she would receive a letter that destroyed everything she had planned. That letter was from my attorney. A notice warning that if she tried any more contact, manipulation, or fraud, I would not only press charges, I would expose every secret she'd hidden, every lie, every scheme. She never responded, never tested the boundary, never fought for me. She just accepted the loss and moved on. And that told me the last truth I needed to face. I had never been worth fighting for. I had been useful. And once I stopped being useful, once I became a liability instead of an asset, I became disposable. That was the hardest part to grieve. Not just that she betrayed me, but that somewhere along the way, her love for me had died or turned into something cold and transactional. And I hadn't wanted to see it. We're told mothers should never give up. That blood matters more than anything. That family is family, and we must endure. But the old saying is incomplete. The real idea is this. The bonds we choose are stronger than the ones we're born into. Family is not biology. It's love, respect, trust, and reciprocity. Jennifer and I had DNA and history. What we didn't have was family, not in the way that counts. So here I am, December 22nd, 2025, 3 days before Christmas, alone, but no longer lonely. I've learned the difference. Loneliness is needing connection and not having it. Being alone is simply being by yourself. In my aloneness, I found something I never had with her in my life. Peace. If you hear yourself in my story, if there's someone who only takes, who treats you like a tool instead of a person, know this. You deserve better. You deserve respect. You deserve love that doesn't hurt. It does not matter if that person is your child, parent, sibling, or spouse. DNA is not a free pass to abuse you. Family doesn't mean you must accept cruelty. Love does not require self-destruction. Sometimes the bravest thing you can do is walk away. Sometimes the strongest thing you can do is close the door. Sometimes the most loving thing you can do for yourself is to stop loving someone who keeps breaking you. I'm 69. I live alone in a house I almost lost. I have no family, no children, no legacy in the traditional sense. And I'm okay, truly okay. Because I am free from false hope, from constant pain, from a life built around someone who only knew how to take. It was 2:17 p.m. on a Wednesday when my daughter betrayed me. It was 6:47 p.m. on a Thursday when I saved myself. Those 23 days taught me more about strength, boundaries, and self-worth than all the years I spent trying to be enough for someone who would never see my value. My name is Helen. I'm 69 years old, and this is my story. Not of a victim destroyed by betrayal, but of a woman who fought back, survived, and chose peace over blood. Thank you for listening. Take care of yourself. Set your boundaries. Protect your peace. Being alone will always be better than being with someone who makes you feel alone. Always.